I've been there. I've been lucky enough to play in front of really partisan, really vociferous crowds. And when you feel that crowd behind you, it does give you that extra 0.5%. I'm not saying that the crowd can suck the ball in the net. I'm not saying the crowd's the 12th man and every other cliche, but you certainly do feel it when you've got that fervent support behind you.
And there it is once again, TQL Stadium here in Cincinnati. So let's maybe talk about the last match for New York City, and that was the 2-0 defeat to Minnesota. The second goal by Minnesota when New York City's pushing forward to try to get the leveling goal. That one was played at Citi Field, and we'll get to the starting lineup in just a moment too. We will tell you James Sands was left home. He does have a hamstring issue, not considered serious, although they're still doing testing to find out the extent of it. Meanwhile, Santi Rodriguez, his injury is minor, and there's a high expectation that he'll be ready for Wednesday's match at Yankee Stadium against CF Montreal. But if we go back to the match most recently, and it was Monsef Bakrar. He's front and center now because he's the new number 9. It was his 4th game for New York City, but his first in the MLS regular year, Matty. And we'll just take a look at here is a big chance. He had 2 big chances in the game. This was one of them. And you saw Burke Risa, who got his first start in his first appearance for New York City, and got it across to Pellegrini. And then at the back door, unable to finish, was Bakrar. And that was it was unfortunate because he's the guy, and I think Nick's quote, let's get to that first, and then I'll get
sure.
your this is what Nick had to say as I brought up Bakrar. Just 1 goal so far in well over 200 minutes.
Ultimately, he's the guy that we're going with, and we're going to be at the mercy of his ability to be clinical. And I think after the Toronto game, he was excellent. He had the half chance that he took. It was a great finish. He didn't take these chances, but ultimately, for him is the nature of being a striker. You can't dwell on this, and I won't allow him to dwell on it. Yeah, okay, he missed some chances, and we didn't win the game. This game is another opportunity, and the way he plays and with the players he has around him, he's going to come into chances, and he just needs to be confident, be clear in his mind, and go and execute those moments, because he's going to be a good goal scorer for New York City.
So interesting, he just basically said, he's our guy, he's going to be in there the rest of the way, and we have to hope that he becomes more clinical in his finishing. Right?
Yeah, I'm not sure that, and everything Nick says is absolutely right, but it feels harsh on Bakrar when he's only just got here to a new league, a new language, a new style of play, new training, different nutrition.
Too bad.
That everything is...
Hey, get your noggin in the...
Well, it's because your chair's right underneath mine.
Right. Well, you're a good-looking fellow. We need your face in there.
No, look, with the Bakrar thing and being... We are at the mercy of how good Bakrar is and whether he can finish or not.
Yeah.
I think that's right, because it shows you how poor the finishing is elsewhere, and the ability to score goals elsewhere is, and we've seen that throughout the season. I feel sorry for a guy who's brought in. Yes, he wears the number 9, he plays the 9, he plays that position well in terms of holding the ball up, he makes some great runs, but look, as centre forward, as Nick said, it's judged on goal scoring alone, and if he doesn't score, not many other people are going to score goals. That is for certain. There's no Gabby Pereira today, there's no Santi Rodriguez, as he's injured as well. You look around the team and it's bereft of goals, that's for sure. So yes, it's all on Bakrar.
I want to interrupt for a moment, and we're focused on New York City FC, but obviously Lionel Messi, and 8 games, 8 wins. He was a reserve in one of those matches, played the full match in 7 of them, including some extra time situations. I'm looking at the lineup, and if this is accurate, FotMob has put out a lineup for Inter Miami against the New York Red Bulls. Some people reportedly have paid $10,000 for tickets to go to this game at Red Bull Arena. We know people have paid $1,000. Well, I know that that's a fact. I don't see Messi in the 11, and I do not. Oh, he is on the bench. Okay, that was just added. So Lionel Messi is starting the game on the bench tonight. which is probably what we expected.
Yes, it is.
Considering, and one would guess that at the hour mark he'll trot on, and maybe no matter what the score is. You know.
First and foremost, if you pay $10,000 to go and watch Lionel Messi play, you're a fool. It cost me £60 on EasyJet to fly from London to Barcelona, and about €20 to watch him in Camp Nou in La Liga. So if you pay 10 grand, then more fool you, first and foremost. But yes, nobody thought that Messi was going to play in the last 24, 48 hours because he's played so many games and because his head coach as well, Tata Martino, didn't just insinuate that, he basically said it.
Yeah.
I hope that nobody went on to StubHub this morning and paid 5-10 grand for it, because the assumption was he wasn't going to play, which is a shame, of course, for everybody who's gone to the stadium. It will be a packed house,
especially the Argentinians, in the area that's maybe it's their one chance to see the guy in person. I believe Tata will get him in before the end of the match, but we'll monitor that along with the other scores.
He will be out there if he's on a pair of crutches, or Joseph Martinez. They have to make a double substitution, and Joseph Martinez
is on the bench. Well,
exactly.
Martinez is on the bench too.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Martinez wheels him out. Double substitution. Martinez wheels Messi out in a wheelchair.
Busquets is on the bench. Jordi Alba is in the 11, but Busquets and Messi, and Busquets, it looked like he couldn't take another step in that game the other day.
We can't forget that they're mid-30s. They're upper mid-30s. Yes, he scored lots of goals, but he will preserve his run. And when I watched Messi playing when he was in his early 30s, I watched him against Getafe at Camp Nou. Even back then, he didn't run unless he was in possession of the ball. That's how he's done. That's how he's preserved his career for that long.
Well, he hasn't had any trouble finishing. We talked about Bakrar and perhaps his woes, and we'll see what happens tonight here at TQL Stadium. We'll give you another shot of it here. We're in Cincinnati, Ohio. Matty Lawrence, I'm Glenn Crooks. We will have the radio commentary for you live beginning at 7:15 Eastern with a pregame show with head coach Nick Cushing. So you heard the clip from Nick on Bakrar. I'm going to play something that he had to say about Julian Fernandez, who made his debut off the bench against Minnesota. And he also is now going to, I'm not sure if it's happened yet, but write his first check to MLS. As you can see, we get these things in our inbox. And we thought this might happen after we saw the definitive replays. Here, let's look at it again, though. Fernandez, he got called for embellishment and simulation, but the build-up to this was exceptional. Watch this little flick to get the combination with Maxi Morales, but right here he went down, was never touched, and because of that, I've heard those fines are like $250, so that shouldn't be too bad for him.
Yeah, look, always with those kind of fines, I hope they're in percentage of your wage. I hope that it's not just a stipulated $250, because if you fine Messi $250 for embellishment, he earns that in about half a second. So, all those fines have to be done by percentage. But look,
here's Chagafi. He called a penalty. Yeah. He called it a penalty, and he had to overrule himself, which referees
they don't always like
to do that. But this was so obvious.
Look, it's obvious, and as I've always said to Glenn and to people listening, and I'm not biased at all in favour of NYCFC. Embellishment, simulation, no, it's cheating. You're cheating. You're trying to get a penalty even though you weren't touched. I'm fine with it as a sportsman, because I know you do anything you can to win. But ultimately, it's cheating, and you should pay the punishment or pay the fine, however it may be.
Well, here's what Nick Cushing said this week about the 19-year-old Fernandez earning his first start today.
Yeah, I think from Julian, what we see is somebody that is really raw, is a dribbler, is somebody that wants to try and make the game, wants the ball at his feet, wants to go at players, wants to dribble, wants to try and create moments. I think there's a bit of development to do in understanding how we play, but that's normal for guys that come in. He's been in 4 or 5 days. But I think the exciting part of his game is gonna really excite our fans.
I agree with that. There were some moments where you went, "Ooh, okay, this kid's got game." Now, can he set up goals and finish? And you could see his desire to get to the byline, to the end line, to make something happen was That's positive.
Yeah, what I take
And he
from-
did it on the left side. He's going to start on the right
It
tonight.
absolutely does. He can do it on either side. I've watched a lot of him in the last 18 months because I do a number of Argentine games. He really does have great ability. But as Nick said there, he's got to learn how to fit into our system. And that means working on both sides of the ball. When he's got the ball in his feet, of course, he knows what to do then. We said last week, we love the way he attacks the byline with his weaker foot, with his right foot when he was playing on the right-hand side. Then he chooses to go inside a lot of the times on his left foot. So he will ask questions of opposition defenders, but what he has to do is be able to work in transition and work on the other side of the ball, which I feel young players who want to learn, and not every young player does want to learn, as long as he wants to learn, as long as he's that archetypal sponge and listens to the coaches, I think he'll be a good signing for NYCFC.
And another guy, new player, but back not so new, starting and playing the full match was Maxi Morales. Yeah. I remember a Sports Illustrated cover a while back. Why is that not showing up? Oh, we can't get Maxi up. I don't know where it is, but it's a picture of Max Morales and his back. So the title is Maxi's Back, but it won't come up. All right. I'm not going to argue with it.
Don't argue with technology. Technology knows.
But Morales, that's one of the Bakrar misses, was Morales putting him in beautifully over the top. And but the game, the New York City game changed with Maxi back in, yeah?
Yeah, we were lucky enough, I think as you said a little bit earlier, we were lucky enough to spend 5-10 minutes chatting to Nick Cushing down on the field before we came back up here to the media booth. And I said exactly that. He's a game changer. He made a big difference for NYCFC. But guess what? We shouldn't be surprised because he's very comfortable within this framework and he's very comfortable within this team. He's very comfortable in MLS and in New York City. So, yes, I don't think that really surprised us. Maybe what did surprise me was how much of a positive effect he had. I thought he really did put energy and also a little bit of guile in that final third into this team, Glenn.
That's New York City warming up to the bottom right of the screen. Looks like they're going to be in their orange Volt kits tonight. FC Cincinnati on the left. Cincinnati, they are the Supporter Shield leaders in MLS, and it's really not even close.
No, it's not.
They're in with 51 points. Next is St. Louis on 44 points, and then New England 43. If you look at New York City's situation, 13th in the table. You have to be in the top 9 to get to the postseason. 26 points from 25 games, just 5 wins, and 9 defeats and 11 draws. You know, the stalemates have been what have really, I think, ultimately damaged the point situation. And in some of those games, it was not preserving a lead. In some of those games, it was just unable to get the second goal to win the game. There's a combination of things.
Yeah, there is. Unfortunately, it is a combination. That's for certain. It hasn't been fun to watch at either end of the box, has it? Let's be certain. There has been so many unforced errors and so many individual errors as well in this NYCFC squad, and it's really been troubling. And you look down at the figures since that win against FC Dallas 3-1 on April the 22nd. They've had 20 games in all competitions, NYCFC. They've failed to score in 8 of those 20 games. That's 40% of games they've failed to score in.
That's remarkable.
And that is remarkable when you've got Tylus Magno, when you've got Santi Rodriguez, when you've got Gabby Pereira. Not now, but we did at the time, when there was Thiago Andrade for most of those games. Those type of players who were brought in to score goals.
Let's review the starting 11. It certainly looks like a back 3 with the absence of James Sands, who again was left home with a hamstring. That happened on Friday. He felt it a little bit on Thursday at training. We were at training, and he played the full training, but then felt it a little bit more on Friday. So they're not going to take any chances. Santi Rodriguez also home, and it appears to be coach's decision is Maxime Chenot. So there may be more there as time goes on. But it looks like a back 3 of Gray, Martins, and Risa. and then the wingbacks of Ilinic, Kufre, and then the rest we would figure, although Andres Perea is getting his first start of the midfield, and Fernandez, as we mentioned before, getting his first start. So 3-4-3, there's not two strikers, so I guess that's the way it'll shape up. Or five, sometimes you'd say 5-4-1. Just depends on the situation.
Yeah, and look, I think Nick Cushing and the rest of the coaching staff are going to want to pack the midfield. They're up against three in the middle of midfield, but 5 midfielders for FC Cincinnati. It's a big pitch here. It's not Yankee Stadium. It's not Citi Field. There is a lot of space out there. You are going to want to match teams, or certainly FC Cincinnati. You're going to want to match them as man for man as you can. And you've now got 3 centre halves up against 2 forwards. So I understand that as well. You always want one defender dropping off. It leaves 2 defenders can go tight on the forwards, and one can be there to gamble if there's that problem, can mop up danger if the first 2 centre halves up against the 2 nines are beaten in any way, or the ball is flicked on, however it may be.
Well, one thing we feel certain of is New York City needs to get on the board first. Will it be Bakrar? Will he get a goal in an MLS game? He has scored against Toronto in that 5-0 Leagues Cup match, but will now play in his second MLS game. He's a key figure for New York City, as is Brandon Vasquez and Lucho Acosta on the Cincinnati side. And as far as Maxi Morales, he loves playing against Cincinnati. Good thing he's back. 1 goal and 9 assists in 7 games against Cincinnati. So Morales has had a pretty good career there. Again, Lionel Messi not in the starting 11 at Red Bull Arena as Inter Messi plays the New York Red Bulls tonight. And part of the reason why, this was Messi at the end of the game last week. That was Wednesday. And he, that was right before penalties, when right here at TQL Stadium, that's Messi, who converted his penalty, and Inter Miami got past Cincinnati and got to the final of the U.S. Open Cup. Interesting, I've talked to a few people at the hotel where we're staying, the Renaissance. That's where Miami and Messi stayed. So they were talking about how crazy it was, security all over the place. They closed down 3 blocks at Hoboken. Inter Miami's been staying at the W down there, getting ready for their match. He's got 30 security guards in New Jersey. Now, New Jersey's not that nasty a place. No, it's just the crowds. The people are just, it's a messy craze.
Well,
it's really,
Messi,
the guy's a rock star.
Messi and the Argentine side were in Jersey City when the Argentine national team were over here. And even then, I just happened to walk past on one of the days he was there, and it was mobbed outside. They weren't even, they were inside the hotel. You couldn't see them. Right. And there was hundreds and hundreds of people in Argentine shirts outside. So, yes, I understand why it is, because, unfortunately, it's always the lowest common denominator. You've got to look out for that one idiot who's going to try and break into the hotel or to do dumb things. So, yes, Jersey's not a bad place by any means.
And the broadcast, the match is good. The Apple broadcast is going to be at Times Square. Yeah. That huge screen where they'll show different events. They had the Women's World Cup on one time when I was walking through, but it'll be up there too. I don't know if they'll have as many people watching, and just a couple of other things. Well, I wanted to show you one more thing, Matty. I've been holding this in abeyance. This is the kind of stuff that really bugs you, so I'm going to put it up there. It's the terms of Neymar's contract over there in the Middle East where he's playing. I don't know. You have to look at it closely. But 5 full-time staff for his house. I enjoyed that one. A 24-hour driver. He's got 3 cars, decent vehicles there. Bentley, Lamborghini, a private plane at his disposal at any moment.
Yeah, it's all about the sport, isn't it?
And he's making $100 million a year. Anyway, we'll close with that. As look, big match for New York City. We've been saying that time and time again. It just there's only 9 games left. They have teams ahead of them that have games in hand. Every match is near a must-win for New York City. Let's see what they can do tonight. Yeah. We welcome you to tune into our commentary. It's on the New York City FC Network, NYCFC.com/radio. Sync it up with the video. You just freeze the video, kick off, wait for us, unfreeze it, and you're good for the rest of the day. Right, Matty?
Absolutely.
All right, man. For Matty Lawrence, I'm Glenn Crooks. Enjoy the game, everybody.